Tonight, is there a presidential vacuum as the NPP minorities sound alarm over the absence of the president, the vice, and the speaker, with no evidence that the acting chief justice had been sworn in as acting president?
We don't even know where the president is. We don't even know where the vice president is. We don't even know where the speaker is. Clearly, this country is without leadership because the Constitution provides that in the absence of the president, the vice president, in the absence of both the speaker, right? In the absence of the speaker, the chief justice, we don't have chief justice.
We tell you what we know. Also tonight, spare parts and imported goods prices unlikely to drop soon as Ghana Union of Traders Association GUTA members reject appeals for price reduction despite cedi's recent stability against the dollar. The traders insist it's too early to cut prices.
It's good though, but we can't reduce our goods. But the goods we have now is something we have already bought them.
Because the depression of the dollar, no, that one it can't be possible.
I think we have to do away with these goods, and when we go in for new goods, it's then that we'll be able to.
We'll tell you about the trade minister's intervention.
I have since called the president of GUTA for a meeting with the other trade associations. In Ghana, we don't control prices, and so government cannot push price reduction on them.
Also tonight in Suama, Nigeria MP Frank Anodompre held hostage during a heated confirmation process for Municipal Chief Executive nominee.
He won the MP seat and they maneuvered to take away from him. They went to court, the court threw the case away. Now the president has nominated him to become the MC of the Suama Nigeria.
We have details as the MP's attempt to assert his role was met with resistance from the NDC in business.
Oil resumes gas supplies to a trouble plant after a brief shutdown since Friday.
And in sports, Ghana crash out of ongoing under-20 AFCON in a penalty shootout defeat to Egypt, ending hopes of FIFA World Cup qualification.
You want to join us with your views and comments all here on Newsnight 05511119997. Details after this. You're live here on Newsnight. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. The NPP minorities tonight sounding the alarm about what they call a presidential vacuum that they claim has left the country without a president, acting or substantive. As of this morning, President John Mahama was in Togo. The Vice President is still on sick leave. The Speaker of Parliament, we understand, is also out of the jurisdiction. Minority member on the Finance Committee, Dr. Tia Kabiru, says the country is tonight without leadership, although it isn't yet clear if the acting Chief Justice had been formally sworn in to act as President.
In all this discussion, we don't even know where the president is. We don't even know where the vice president is. We don't even know where the speaker is.
Of course, you know where the president is in Togo as of this morning. The vice president is still on medical leave in the United Kingdom. The Speaker of Parliament, it's unclear for me where he is, but the president we know is in
clearly
Togo.
This country is without leadership because the Constitution provides that in the absence of the president, the vice president, in the absence of both the speaker, right? In the absence of the speaker, the chief justice, we don't have chief justice. As to whether acting chief justice can be acting president, it's even an issue. So
as a member of parliament, we are not aware of any kind of transfer of power in the absence of the president.
The president has not communicated to members of parliament. He might have communicated to the speaker, and the speaker has the responsibility of informing members of parliament.
But are you aware whether there's been any kind of a temporary swearing-in ceremony in the absence of the president?
I'm not aware of any of such. And if anyone is aware, they should educate us, right? But these are issues that I will defer. But it's something that we must be worried that a president and the vice president and the speaker can just get up and leave the country and leave everyone wondering where we are when the Constitution provides that when someone is not there, this person should be sworn in to take these duties.
The law says that in the absence of the president, the vice president should act. The vice president, as we know as of now, is still on medical leave in the United Kingdom. In the absence of the vice president, it is the Speaker of Parliament. Well, as far as I know, we are not privy to any kind of a swearing-in ceremony as demanded by the Supreme Court. And then in the absence of the Speaker of Parliament, it is the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice on suspension, the acting is still in office. But nothing official as far as the change of command is concerned.
Yeah, I hold the view that acting Chief Justice is not the Chief Justice. And he cannot be made to pretend over the country. It's an issue for a constitutional interpretation. maybe someone would have to invoke that and ask for clarity, right? I know Kukaza had cause or someone had a cause about the swearing in, whether the person must necessarily be swearing in. There must necessarily be some swearing in. The Supreme Court actually had the ruling that yes, it must necessarily be sworn.
Right.
It cannot be by way of, by default, once the person is not there, the person acts. So we have jurisprudence, we have precedence guiding some of this. But when both or the three of them are not there, and we have acting Chief Justice, it's a constitutional.
Do you think it creates a vacuum?
Clearly, if there's a decision to take, even though there are other people who hold the view that if the president is not physical within the president,
he can still conduct his business.
Yeah, but
because of technology.
But the court disagrees with that. The court disagrees with that.
He must be physically present in the country.
He must be physical.
Once you are out of the jurisdiction.
Once you are out of the jurisdiction, you are not the president so-called, proper so-called. There must at all point in time be someone physical president within the jurisdiction of Ghana. Right? That's what the Supreme Court decided on. So the president doing wireless meetings, doing online meetings, or asking the chief, that is not the president within the country. It is a president at large. Okay? And it is an issue that people, the lawyers and then the constitutional experts should be asking.
But is the minority taking any keen interest in this matter?
Yes, I'm privy to some discussion. Some minority members, especially those within the constitutional and legal affairs committees, are raising that we are not hearing anything. Is it the case that it's a country that we say no one can decide to do anything? Maybe they would come out once we begin to broach discussion. The president, in the interest of the nation, the communication director should put to bear the arrangement so that everyone will know that this was what was done. This is the arrangement. This is the person in charge, so that we all know that Mr. Bafo-Boni is the president acting. Then we'll know.
And that is Tiakabiru speaking to us a short while ago on the subject of the whereabouts of the president and whether or not we have an acting president in place, or this country is operating without leadership. And there are a few things that we know tonight, and my colleague, parliamentary correspondent, Kweku Asante, joins me in the studio with more on this. Kweku, so let's start with the president. Where is the president?
We know that the president was in the United Kingdom before the end of last week. He did go to visit his vice president, Professor Nana Ajinopoku-Agyeman. As of this morning, the president was in Togo, where he has been attending a high-level forum of the African Union, and he actually delivered a speech there. Our understanding is that the president will actually move to the Côte d'Ivoire for some further bilateral talks and other issues tomorrow, and so the president is not set to return. At least between today and tomorrow, the president will not be there. And if you read the Constitution, Article 60, it says whenever the president is absent from Ghana or is for any other reason unable to perform the functions of his office, the vice president shall perform those functions. The vice president shall, before commencing to perform those functions, subscribe to the oath. And then it goes on and on that where the vice president also not around, it will be the speaker and up to the chief justice. We know that for the last 2 months, the vice president, of course, all of us know she has not been around. She's in the United Kingdom. The speaker of parliament last week was in the country, but this afternoon we have confirmed that the speaker of parliament has also traveled out of the country.
Okay, so the first three
are all not around.
As we speak tonight, yes, they're not in Ghana. They're not in the jurisdiction.
Exactly. In fact, there were those who were asking questions that since the president had traveled, and even at the time the speaker was around, had there been a swearing in of the Speaker of Parliament to perform the functions of the President? Because we know that in the Doha Jaho case, the Supreme Court was clear that even if the Speaker of Parliament has to act, he has to subscribe to the oath of the presidency before he can act. The Speaker of Parliament was in town, but as of this morning, the confirmation is that the Speaker of Parliament is also currently not in Ghana as we speak. That will mean that the baton shifts to the next in line, which is the acting Chief Justice, Paul Bafo-Boni. It is not yet clear if Bafo-Boni has taken the oath of the president to act in this temporal time, while the president, vice, and speaker are all not around. We do not know that for a fact, but the president, the vice president, the speaker of parliament are all not currently in Ghana.
So the only unknown tonight is whether or not the acting chief justice has officially been sworn in to act as president. That hasn't been communicated. We've been checking ourselves. There is no clarity on that particular matter, whether that has happened. And if indeed he hasn't been sworn in, then it raises constitutional questions whether indeed, as the minority is alleging tonight, there isn't leadership for this particular country. And if he's been sworn in, there is a subsequent question. Can an acting Chief Justice act as president? Interesting constitutional questions. I want to bring in Professor Kojo Pejutia, Associate Professor, School of Law, University of Ghana, joins us on the line right now. Prof, I'm grateful for your time here on News Night. So the only unknown tonight, we know the President is out, we know the Vice is out, we know the Speaker is out. The only unknown tonight is whether or not the acting Chief Justice has been sworn in to act as President. Does it raise any fundamental questions for you where we are tonight?
Thanks for having me, Evans. Yes, it does. It does raise serious constitutional issues as well as governance issues. As Article 60 of our Constitution says, in line of succession, if you like, when the President is not in, the Vice President takes over. In the absence of the Vice President, there is a Speaker. In the absence of the Speaker, or the President, the Vice, and the Speaker not being there, then it shifts to the Chief Justice. So here we have a scenario where the three are not in the country. And therefore, according to the constitutional provisions, it is the Chief Justice that should assume the position of President.
So you asked the question, the lack of communications that we now have, there's a vacuum one when it comes to the communication about what it really has happened. Should that be an integral part of this process for the sake of transparency?
Definitely, because you don't know what will happen in the next second or the next minute. As things stand, the presidency has created a lack of communication, and that is a serious governance issue. Because as we speak, if something should happen and the president has to act, according to the Constitution, the president has to be physically present in the country. Of course, there are certain things the president can do while outside the country. And probably that is one thing that the Constitution should be clear about, and something that maybe the Constitution Commission should look at. Because there are certain things that the president can do while outside the country. And therefore, he should still be deemed to be the president. But according to the Constitution as we have it today, if he's out of the country, he's no more serving as a president. And so there should be communication about that. And so even in the case of the Speaker, when the president was not in, and we know that the Vice President is also not in, he should have been sworn into office. And when he was leaving, measures should have also been taken for him to hand over to the Chief Justice. And the Chief Justice would then have been sworn in by the most senior of the justices at the Supreme Court. And that should have been a clear situation where steps have been taken to fill all the gaps. And therefore, the current president should be the acting Chief Justice.
Should the swearing-ins, should they have been public, such as we would have seen the Speaker at the time that the president was leaving the jurisdiction actually sworn in? Or should it simply have been by way of communication to us that he has been sworn in? What's the best practice?
The best practice is for the Chief Justice in this case to have been sworn in publicly so that we all know that this is the Chief Justice now acting as the president.
Can an acting Chief Justice act as president?
Definitely. According to the Constitution now, he is acting as the Chief Justice. And so we don't have any other Chief Justice apart from him acting as a Chief Justice. So he holds that power. If there is no situation where that responsibility can be given to anybody else, it is he acting as the Chief Justice. And so in that respect, he qualifies constitutionally to assume that position.
Thank you very much, Prof. That's the Professor Kweju Apeju, Associate Professor in University of Ghana School of Law, talking to us about the minorities' concerns tonight, that there may be a presidential vacuum because we know the president is out of the jurisdiction, the vice is also out of the jurisdiction, and also we know that the speaker is out of the jurisdiction tonight. We don't know if indeed the acting Chief Justice has been sworn in just yet. This is something we're keeping a close eye on. We'll update you as and when we get further clarity. We're checking with Jubilee House to get clarity on whether or not the acting Chief Justice has been sworn in, considering that the president himself is out. All first three are out of the jurisdiction. Stay with us on that as and when we get further clarity. We'll update you before we end news night. But in the meantime, there's tension brewing tonight. In fact, erupted at the Nsoama Municipal Assembly during the confirmation process for the municipal chief executive nominee. MP Frank Anodompreh was held hostage after attempting to assert his role, sparking resistance from the NDC regional executives led by Dr. Mark Oliver Kevo. The incident follows reports that Anodompreh had vowed to block Salom's confirmation, who previously challenged him in the 2024 parliamentary elections. I want to bring in our regional correspondent who joins us on the line right now, Kofi Siao, with the very latest. Kofi, what really happened?
Okay, so in the morning when we got there, we had information that the side of the MP had the view that they want to approve the president's nominee. So the regional minister and the regional chairman, together with the regional security, stormed there with a lot of police officers. I could count about 50 of them, and they were to ensure that the process was smooth. So when the process started, everything went on well until the counting began, or until the voting ended, when the police formed a barricade around the ballot box. The idea was that they wouldn't want people to come close to it so that they could tamper with the counting and the other process. So the MP, however, says that that is not how it's supposed to be. So he resisted and insisted that he's made a polling agent. But the national security officer said that that is not how it's supposed to be. So they prevented him from getting close to where the counting was taking place. And that, resulted in a lot of, exchanges, a lot of heated, arguments until the Electoral Commission counted the votes. So after they counted it, the supporters who were outside the place, were also, confronting each other. And when the result was declared and Anodompreh was about to leave the place, they started, chasing him. So the police whisked him away to the NADMO office in the same building.
And Anodompreh's case, you mentioned that he was held hostage. How long did this happen and where exactly?
Okay, so the assembly hall where the election itself took place, it's inside the main building of the district assembly. And where he was taken to is close to the place where they voted. So it's about, let's say, a 50-meter distance from the assembly hall to the NADMO office where he was kept.
And who kept him there? Hello, Kofi.
Hello, Evan.
Who kept him there?
The police whisked him away to the place.
I've got a bit of the sense of what really happened there when captured in the sounds from the chaos that ensued. Listen.
Because Dompreh has been doing this opposing thing for the past 8 years. The last election he went boot to boot with us. Already he was leading the NDC in this constituency with a margin of more than 1,000. And then someone closer to 3,000. This year he even claimed he won. It was 3,000 that he claimed he won 4 years ago. And even this recent election, after the collation at the head office, he said he won with just 207 votes. And so from all indications, you could see that Salom has been performing, and he knows what Salom can do. So he always wants to show himself, make sure you make him unpopular, but we will never allow that to happen. So we expect a lot from Salom. For now, we will stay low for him. We know what he can do. When he came to the constituency, the NDC at the level was low, but he was able to mobilize the whole constituency to go behind him. And so we know by that effort, if we put a little bit effort in our road infrastructure, our hospitals, our schools, we know he will do a lot. We have a lot of hope in him, and we know that the resetting agenda is in him, and he will deliver for us. My name is Ismail Salam Afei.
I want to bring in Dr. Marco Kevo, is the Eastern Regional Chair of the NDC, joins us on the line right now. Dr. Kevo, thanks for your time here on Newsnight.
Thank you, Evans.
Has this been resolved now? You have a nominee who has now been confirmed?
No, so far, in all the 21 NMDs, we have attempted to confirm the nominees. All of them have been confirmed.
All confirmed, including the Fumi Salom?
Yes, Fumi Salom has also been confirmed today.
So what really...
we have 33 metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies in the Eastern region. Out of that, 21 of them have been confirmed so far.
What was the issue? What was the hold-up today? I understand that Anodon Prayer was at the heart of things, and you resisted his attempt to assert his role in this whole process.
Well, the process has been very seamless and peaceful across the region. I'm sure, but for this particular incident, not many have even followed this particular process because it has been very seamless, very, very quiet, and very peaceful, with a number of places securing 100% for the nominees. For example, in Kwaru East, Atiwa West, Atianse, Suhum, Nilo Krobo, New Drabin South, we have endorsed the president's nominee with 100% confirmation. Now, in the case of Nsawa Dwejiri, where the nominee secured 29 out of 42 votes, the MP elected himself to be an agent for no. It's a yes or no vote. And the standard practice is that during sorting and counting, there's an agent, that is the nominee's agent, that will be observing the process. And an agent, which is normally an assembly member selected by the assembly, usually the presiding member or a person appointed by the presiding member, who will also witness on behalf of the assembly. In this particular case, the MP decided to assume the role of a no agent, which, introduced some confusion at the venue. Nonetheless, the situation was managed calmly. The MP was provided with the necessary police protection and was peacefully escorted out after the final declaration and swearing in of the confirmed nominee.
The rest of the nominees for the Eastern region, when do you hope to have them considered and
confirmed? Yeah, we are continuing tomorrow from Brim North, that is at Brim. We'll go through Afuanse, Irebi, then to Akroso, Asane, Manso, and then we'll end at Asamankesi tomorrow. Then we'll follow the next day.
Dr. Marco Kevo, thank you very much. He's the Regional Chair of the NDC. And I know many of you have been watching the CD Miracle as it performs wonders against the US dollars. Now, the demand is reduction in prices. Now, traders are, however, tonight rejecting the public calls to reduce the prices of spare parts and imported goods, despite the Ghanaian cedi's recent rebound against the US dollar. After dropping to over 16 cedis to the dollar 4 months ago, the cedi now trades at around 13 cedis. Consumers in Kumasi are demanding price adjustments, accusing businesses of profiteering from the past crisis while ignoring the current stability.
The of the cedi is very good. It's good for the economy. Obviously, imports will be cheaper, and we're expecting that prices will start coming down. However, the traders are not obliging, and it's something that we think the government has to work on.
If the dollar is now deflation. By all means, the prices must go down, so everybody can buy anything that you want.
Saturday, I'm a fan.
I went to stock items this Saturday and prices remain the same. But when prices increase today, they will increase their prices too. Some people even increase it without going to the stock market because they believe it will increase by the time they go there.
Old price nana.
We still buy some stuff at the old price, but at the end of the month, we are hopeful that it will reflect in prices.
Well, in Accra, some consumers who went to the market today are unhappy. Price of goods remain unchanged.
I think that it's a very good idea for them to reduce the prices of goods and services. Because, Charlie, the system is hard. Things are really hard for us. And so if we thank God that the finance minister is also doing well, the dollar has really come down. The city is gaining weight. And so I don't see why most of them don't want to reduce the prices of the goods and services for us to be able to purchase and then enjoy.
We expect that the prices will come down. Do you understand? We are expecting that once the dollar has come down, we also expect that when we come to the market to buy the items, we expect that the prices will come down. It's not much. They have not reduced the prices. So in fact, Guta have to come, sit with them. I mean, they should also come down with the prices. I don't know why the prices is still the same as it is. So we are expecting that the prices will come down.
I'm excited because when goods goes up, it affects all of us. So traders usually complain based on the dollar rate. Since dollar rate is down, I think it's good, or it will be best if they also reduce their prices for all of us to be okay.
Well, the Ghana Union of Traders Association, they have in a statement directed their members to reduce prices. We went to Bosokai and parts of the Greater Accra region to gauge if indeed the traders have reduced prices. Well, at Bosokai, spare parts dealers say they cannot reduce the prices just yet.
I pray they made us. It's good though, but we can't reduce our goods. But the goods we have now is something we have already bought them in stock already. So we can't reduce it due to the appeal they have made. And the dollar issue now is not from the government. We know the whole global market, what's happening now. From China to America to Russia, a whole lot. So that's why we are receiving this current dollar rate. But maybe within some short time, our dollar will go up. What are we going to do when we reduce the goods? And I'm going to buy a new one. What should I do? Automatically, I'm going to lose a lot of money. So you have to hold on for some time being. If you are able to manage this dollar for about 6, 7 months, 8 months.
Oh, you cannot use your opinion to change somebody's business. Actually, we took goods on the high prices, so you need to sell it to get your profit. That is business. So you cannot go for goods at high prices and come and sell it at lower prices just because the depression of the dollar. No, that one it can't be possible. Oh yes, you need to reduce the prices, but not now, because we have some goods that we pack for so many days or like some months that we pay with a higher dollar. So we cannot use the depression of that small, let's say a week, to just finalize that. Or because the dollar is depressed, we can probably reduce the thing. Stable for 2 months. Let's say we can give a range of 1 year. Down 1 year, you can see that it's true that the depression is permanent or reducing now. But 2 months, 1 month, it's not going to work like that.
Like it is possible for us to do so, but the goods that we are having presently were purchased so many months ago, and it was very, very high. The price was very, very high. As such, I think we have to do away with these goods, and when we go in for new goods, it's then that we will be able to reduce the price. If we say we are going to reduce the price now, it is going to affect us. Why? Because we will lose. When we lose our money, how can we go there to go and bring more goods? So I will say, let us wait for a while.
Well, George Wafish joining me for more analysis on this, but we were also at the Opera Square, and the story was the same. The traders there, they acknowledged that the prices have indeed, the city's performing wonders, and it's a bit of a good scenario for them, but not yet when it comes to price reductions. We're now hearing from government. The Trade Minister, Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjari, says while government cannot legally compel traders to lower prices, the current strength of the city makes it only fair for consumers to benefit.
I have since called the president of GUTA. I work closely with them for a meeting with the other trade associations. We all know that in Ghana, we don't control prices. And so government cannot really push price reduction on them. But because we work together, we can always discuss and see how the stable city will benefit both consumers and traders. And that is only fair because there have been times that the dollar has gone up and traders have increased their prices. So if the dollar is this stable and has appreciated this much, I think that we need to regroup and see the way forward. I also commend GUTA for even taking the step to prevail on the traders to reduce the cost of their goods. And so I think that at that meeting, we will brainstorm and come to a very good conclusion, which will benefit both traders and then consumers.
But
I've heard one argument which says that they bought the things already, but I think that we can discuss. They can take advantage and buy some at this time as the dollar is low, put it together, find the averages. I'm sure at the meeting it will be very useful, the discussion that we'll have. GUTA is ready to sit with the traders and other trade associations to ensure that at least all our customers also benefit from the stable environment that we are in. And now, because there is dollar in the system, you can buy dollar at a good rate. Now the business community have confidence in the government. The finance ministry is doing well, gold is doing great, the gold board is doing well. They are posting the export and the money they are bringing in because of the investor confidence. People are not taking away their dollar. And you see the business environment generally is good. And if government has been able to achieve this, I'm sure that it is good that everybody in the country benefit from it. And so we'll continue to engage GUTA and the trade association to ensure that they see reason to make sure that we all benefit from the business environment that Excellency John Dramani Mahama and Ghanaians have created.
Thankfully, we can speak to the president of GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obeng, joins us right now. Doc, you ask your members to reduce prices. They say they won't do so. What do you plan to do about it?
They are not saying they won't do so. They are saying that they are challenged. And that is true also. But the advice we are giving is that we are in a competitive market. And whether somebody bought it higher or somebody bought it low, the market forces will determine the price. Nobody can overprice himself or herself out of the market. The business that we do with our consuming public. We don't do this business in isolation. When the consumer is challenged with high prices, he is unable to patronize our wares. And that's why turnover is curtailed. Our business thrives on turnover, and we need to do to enhance on turnover with our consumers. And that's why it is necessary that when we have gains, such as the one that we are having now, it's quite significant that we have to share it with the consumers, our customers. It's very important. We are not saying anything that is, because whenever we call for duties to come down, when we say that SM rate should stabilize and all that, we do not do it alone. They also support us to do that.
You made a point that the market forces would intervene and
Definitely.
and balance out things. But for that to happen, prices must obviously vary. I mean, so if Shop A has high prices and Shop B has lower prices, I'll go naturally to the Shop B with lower prices. Are you aware of members who have reduced prices directly as a result of the city's strength?
And so we are in a consumer's market. We do not have the sellers market. When you go to Europe, Europe is the sellers market. That's why you go to a shop and then you see the prices fixed attached with a tax on it. And so you buy the goods and that's it. What is written on the price is what you buy. Here is a competitive market. And when you go to one sector, you see about 1,000 people trading in the same commodity line with different prices. Others might have gotten the price at a higher price, as they are saying, and legitimately so. They are challenged. But others might have also gotten it the rate that it is now. And they are all in the same market. The consumer goes and then set the market, make sure that he buys from the one who is selling at a cheaper price, and reward him, and punish the one who is selling at a higher price.
So consumers must look for those traders who have reduced their prices, who have lower prices.
Yes, that has been the norm in this country. It's the consumers' market. We bargain for prices.
I get that, but because you're the president, give me a sense of this. Have you seen prices going down since last week when this became a thing, when we realized that the CD's gain is going to be sustained? Have you seen prices going down at all in the market?
Some people have adjusted positively and responded to it. You see, that's why sometimes I want your team to go and find the prices before and now. So it's very important. It's true. There are some people who may not be able to adjust their prices, and that's why we are advising that they have to strike the reasonable averages so that they can stay afloat. Otherwise, they will be priced out of the market. Because so many people will also get it at a cheaper rate as we are experiencing now. But the key here is sustainability and predictability. If we are able to predict that this thing is going to be sustained, prices will just follow like anything. And so the natural course will take its place.
We're both in Kumasi and Accra, multiple markets, and the chorus was the same. Well, we cannot reduce prices just yet. Let me ask you. I mean, because you are the
let me say this
just a moment. Because you're the leader of Guta, and I know you're a trader yourself. Have you reduced your own prices at your shop?
Yeah. You see, I've told my people to go back and use. I have different rates that I use to make my prices, and so I've told them to go when we use the 14.5 for the pricing, and so that will average. That's what I'm talking about. So in this case, I won't go that low as it is now, but I'll go in between the 16 and then probably the 14, and that's prudence. You understand? And that's what I'm saying, that they should strike reasonable averages, and then they can still stay afloat, transfer some gains to the consumer. Because if we are able to make the consumer get a cheaper price, our turnover is going to go up.
Thank you very much, Dr. Joseph, for being a president of Guta, and he has a shop. He says he's currently reducing his prices, and you have to go out there and tell us if you've been in the markets today. I want to hear from you. Have you noticed any of the Guta members, any trader on the market reducing price as a result of the CD's stability? Tell us. Send us a WhatsApp 05511119970 before George joins me with the latest on the world of business. Many of you have already joined us on the other stories you've heard so far. From Top Story, I want to share a few with you. Please tell a jobless minority that Ghanaians have grown above their petty politics. They lack an iota of moral rights to comment on such issues. He's referring to the Sami Jemfi matter. This one, Nana Kwamana Painters says the same way they dealt with his leather past dollars must be dished out to Sami too. And George from Malam says those armchair crybabies are having laughable press conferences again. And Musa Abattoir says, I completely agree with Adam Senanu. It's absolutely ridiculous to suggest that Sami Jemfi should be punished when he hasn't broken any law. This is a classic case of creating controversy where there is none. George is here with the latest from the world of business. And George, you have more on the
Yeah.
On the CD miracle.
And we're having some discussions of it, and basically there's talk about the fact that the trade deal between US and China could put some fresh pressure on the Ghana city in terms of revising or reversing the recent gains. As Standard & Poor's is also warning that the good run might be ending from the second quarter of this year, and Talo Oil resumes gas supplies to our Tuabo plant after a brief shutdown since Friday. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all your office essentials, Synthesis tanks and Pepsodent, Herbal and Charcoal. Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, government says it is taking steps to encourage traders to reduce the prices of their goods on the market. The Trade Ministry is expected to meet executives of the Ghana Trade Association this Wednesday as part of its move to actually encourage them to reduce prices. Elizabeth Ofusu Ejare is Minister of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, and she's been insisting that government is not in any way trying to determine prices of goods and services on the market.
We all know that in Ghana we don't control prices, and so government cannot really push price reduction on them. But because we work together, we can always discuss and see how the stable cedi will benefit both consumers and traders. And that is only fair, because there have been times that the dollar has gone up and traders have increased their prices. So if the dollar is this stable and has appreciated this much, I think that we need to regroup and see the way forward. I also commend Guta for even taking the step to prevail on the traders to reduce the cost of their goods.
Elizabeth Ofusu Ejare is the Minister of Trade, Industry and Agribusiness. Now, there are projections that the Ghana cedi could come under some pressure in the coming months. Now, this was after the US reached a trade deal with China when it comes to the recent tariff war. Now, there is more in the following report.
One of the reasons for the cedi's strong recovery and even appreciation in recent times is the weakening of the US dollar. This is due to the fact that more businesses and countries were moving away from dollar-backed assets due to the current uncertainty. However, due to the deal that US had reached with China when it comes to freezing the recent tariffs hikes is accounting for the dollar-strong recovery today. The price of crude oil, which was getting into the $50 range earlier this month, is now trading around $64 a barrel. Gold prices have also started dropping. All these are due to the recent development between US and China as they reach some favorable trade deals. Standard & Poor's, in their latest report on Ghana, for instance, is also warning that the local currency could come under some pressure for the second quarter of this year.
And that is a Business Desk report. Meanwhile, finance professor at the Andrews University, Professor William Pepra, wants government to deal with some of the structural challenges to manage this potential challenge.
In Ghana, we still have our structural challenges. We have not turned our economy around. This high public debt is still hanging. We have not intensified our exports or to diversify our exports. So this limitation is going to play in the second half of the year. Until probably we're able to work on the external pressures what we need, we may see a reverse where the cedi will start depreciate again. So these are the major elements that really limit Ghana to have a sustained exchange rate regime where we'll be able to sustain this kind of appreciation. If not, in the second half, if the government is not more disciplined, we may see the cedi devaluing. We may have to improve or diversify our export and do more exports.
Williams Prepra, and that's the Professor of Finance at the Andrews University, Professor Williams Prepra over there. Now, oil exploration firm Talu has resumed supplies to the Atuabo gas processing plant in Takoradi in the western region. Now, Joy Business understands that Talu actually resumed supply of the gas to the processing plant that was last night. But sources close to the gas processing plant in Atuabo say the pressure is yet to fully build up to aid processing at the end. The development should come as good news, especially when there were concerns that the shutdown could affect power production and supply in the country. Now, Ghana has outdoor this recreation and adventure landscape has gained another addition, the opening of We Abe Mega Zipline and Adventure Park, a world-class forest amusement park in Binduri in the eastern region. The newest amusement park in Ghana is expected to provide environmentalists and ecotourists with the adequate platform to explore nature. Co-founder of the facility, Philip Yeboah, says this is a positive move for those who want to explore that sector.
In WeApe, what we have is an adventure park which is comparable to any you'll find anywhere in the world. We think and we hope others would learn and replicate what we've done. In so doing, give tourists a lot more options and help increase the tourist profile of Ghana. And then finally, it's an exciting day for environmental advocates and conservationists. In this park, we are what you could say living testimony to how, as a society, as people, we can live in harmony with the environment.
Co-founder of the We Abe Zipline Park, Philip Yeboah. That's all for Business on Newsnight. Back to you, Evans.
And Joel, thank you very much. We can do sports now, and Granting is here with the latest.
Ghana's Black Satellites have crashed out of the ongoing Under-20 AFCON after a 5-4 penalty shootout loss to host Egypt. Ghana fought back from 2 goals down, with Aziz Issa and Hakim Suleimana scoring the goals to force the game into extra time. Ghana were reduced to 10 men in extra time after Aaron Essel was sent off. Intri Da Costa missed the only penalty kick of the shootout, ending Ghana's hopes of a place at the FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Chile later this year. The loss extends Ghana's World Cup qualification drought to 10 years. Moving on, Real Madrid boss Carlo Ancelotti will leave the Spanish club at the end of the season to become the new national team coach of Brazil. The 65-year-old Italian will officially take charge of Brazil on 26th of May following the conclusion of the La Liga season. He leaves the Santiago Bernabeu as one of the most successful managers in the club's history. Ancelotti won 15 trophies across 2 spells as Real Madrid manager and led Real Madrid to a Champions League and a La Liga double last season. Brazil have not won the World Cup since 2002, and the last time they were Copa America champions was 6 years ago in 2019. Bring an end to sports. Back to you, Evans.
Cranton, thank you very much. So live your news night is on Joy 99.7 FM. The Ashanti Regional Anti-Galamsey Task Force is expanding its efforts to protect cocoa farms from illegal mining activities. Cocoa farmers in rural areas have been complaining about the destruction caused by these miners, with some farmers reportedly selling their farms to them willingly, while others have been forcibly taking over. Nana Aljuma has been engaging interest groups in the cocoa and mining sectors and has filed this report.
According to the Ashanti Region Anti-Galamsey Task Force, complaints about the activities of illegal miners in cocoa growing areas are often received. National Security Liaison in Ashanti Region, Captain Retired John Kwame Jabari, speaks of plans to rescue the farmers.
Apart from them destroying the river body, a number of cocoa farms have been brought down by these menace. It is the citizens over there who come and give us the information that these people are destroying our cocoa farms.
CEO of Cocoa Board, Dr. Randy Abbey, has expressed interest in joining the cause.
Whilst we do that, we need to also put in place the necessary legal framework to back this.
Meanwhile, the concerned Small-Scale Miners Association wants the task force to stay within forceful takeovers. President Michael Kwadwo insists some cocoa farms were legally acquired for mining purposes.
Mining comes with distraction, and in so doing, if the person has his license and even if it's a cocoa farm and the farmers are willing to give it out, I think the law permits them to mine within that confirmed demarcated area.
My colleague Aljuma filed that report. Onizikam has returned to the Ganyoko community in the Binduri district of the Upper East region following a wave of violent attacks that left more than 10 houses destroyed, burnt to ashes. The attacks, believed to be linked to the protracted chieftaincy conflict in the neighboring town Boku, have left residents in fear and uncertain. Initial reports indicate that more than 10 homes were torched by unknown assailants in the early hours of the week. JoyNews sources say a second wave of arson was carried out 3 days prior, increasing the number of destroyed structures to over 20. Now, although no fatalities have yet been reported officially, confirmed. Several residents have been displaced, and local authorities say the full extent of the damage is still being assessed. I want to bring in right now our Upper East Regional Correspondent, Albert Sorry, who has been following the developments there and joins us right now with the very latest. What can you report tonight, Albert?
Yes, everything has been calm since all of this started. There haven't been any further disturbances in the last 24 hours, but the security agencies tell us that they are still investigating this incident. What we know is that the houses that were burnt were not being occupied. The residents in that area in Gumwoko had relocated to other places for their own safety because in the last 1 month or so, they had become targets of attack. And so the assailants took advantage of the situation to burn down the house.
As we speak tonight, have there been additional police, military deployed to the area? And from what we understand, calm has returned, but it's only uneasy.
Yes, the military barracks is located in Bazua, which is also in the Binduri district. It's not too far away from this area. There are a lot of patrols by military and by police also going around. What many don't understand is how this incident was able to take place without the security agencies getting wind of it. But it also happened at a time that it was curfew hours. And so it's the part of it that is still being uncovered. But as we speak, there is, security presence on the ground.
Albert, thank you very much. We're hearing from the Inspector General of Police now, Christian Tetayon, who says steps have been taken to de-escalate tensions in Binduri.
Military police and all other securities, they are very happy for your intervention. But what we want to tell you as you start is that the normal policing duties have been withdrawn. Only the operational teams that are there, because they appear vulnerable that they could be attacked at their various homes. So we ask that all those with families go back to other regions to be deployed so that we have operational ground. And that is what we are doing to grab the military till now. One particular area is Binduri, which is we are working together with the national security so that we can look at the best way to reduce the hotness about Binduri.
And that's it for News Night tonight. Enjoy the rest of your evening.